guys ever heard of the Behemoth? Creator of an amazing catalog of 5 games, well known for being couch co-op classics. Now it might be a bit surprising to hear that a hardcore capital G gamer like myself would touch such light-hearted games, instead of the usual helping of Bloons Tower Defense 6, or whatever the hell is happening in Ultra Kill. But I really love all of the games the Behemoth have put out there, and genuinely think they are kind of masterpieces on their own. But before we get to the meat of this stuff, let me give you some gross and icky exposition. In the way back era, before we all suffered that brain degradation caused by short-form content, a man named Tom Fulp created the website newgrounds.com in 1995 at the young age of 17 to host his admittedly kinda edgy flash games called Clubacil 2 and Assassin 2. What were the first entries for both of those? I don't know, I didn't care to look that up. The site would later explode in popularity due to randos just being able to put whatever the hell they wanted on the internet, like cartoons, art, and most importantly, games. A little later, Tom would release Pico's School to critical acclaim due to a level of complexity not yet seen from Flash yet. The game is fucking garbage by today's standards, and I don't really recommend you play it, but this only drew more attention towards Newgrounds, and led to Fulp meeting Dan Paladin. Dan and Tom would collab on a couple of more popular games like Chainsaw the Children and Dad and Me, until the release of Alien Hominid, an arcade-style side-scrolling shoot-'em-up where you play as an alien just trying to get his stuff back. Side note, I remember playing the original, but since I was a stupid-ass child, I couldn't get past the robot in the first level. Now, John Baez, another legend in Behemoth, saw the potential in these two, and suggested they make games for consoles, and hell, even offered to produce them. Obviously, you know the rest of the story. Tom and Dan agree, they make Alien Hominid for Xbox and GameCube. Hooray. Before I say anything else, Alien Hominid is hard. I picked it up for this video thinking, oh wow, I was really bad at this game. Let me just breeze through it, huh? Wrong, idiot. Really going for that arcade, early NES style. You will die in one hit and the screen is always filled with enemies. Think Contra or Bionic Commando. Admittedly, they take it easy on you by just letting you continue from the last level you were on, regardless of running out of continues, and thank God for that. If that wasn't there, I would not have finished this game. Hell, I'm not sure I even would have made it to the Russia levels, which would have been a damn shame, as those were my favorite. This game is kinda rough at times, and every world seemed to have at least one stinker of a boss, looking at you, Danger Cubes. But despite that, it's honestly incredible. Art, music, minigames, simple to grasp, but hard to master, you know? And this game is funny, pretty genuinely, you know? With a couple of moments where the humor is just a little too edgy for my liking. I think I would have enjoyed it a little more when I was younger, you know? But all in all though, this was just the very promising start to the Behemoth. Legends in the making. And for their next game, they would just really knock it out of the park with possibly one of the best couch co-ops of all time, Castle Crashers. This game just really needs no introduction, as I'm sure out of the 109 billion people to have ever existed on this earth, at least 80% of them have played this game. I think this game was most people's introduction to the Behemoth, and the games when it blew up in popularity when it released on Xbox and PlayStation, mostly due in part to its ease of access, colorful and fun art style, and the 4-player co-op couldn't have hurt. Anyone could pick up a controller and have some fun with their friends. None of this is to say that the gameplay is lacking at all. It's quite fun and good, to be completely honest. It's very enjoyable with combos, magic, and a whole heap of weapons and animal orbs to play around with. And even a bit of a deeper learning curve with the juggling tech needed for the insane mode. I don't really got much else to add about this, as I'm sure most of you have already played it. But it's not hard to see why this game stands above the others I'm going to be talking about today, and continues to be a timeless classic. Seriously, I feel like every couple of years I go back and I play through this game with some friends, which is a lot more than I could say about other games coming out on the Xbox Live Marketplace at the time. Seriously, who the hell remembers World of Keflings? What the fuck's going on with them? By the way, all you can quaff sucks. With how much of a smash hit Castle Crashers was, it only makes sense that the Behemoth's next game would be the highly requested sequel, Castle Crashers 2. But the Behemoth said no, and instead made a puzzle platformer named BattleBlock Theater. Many people were disappointed and promptly dismissed the game, but here's the secret. It's really good. Imagine you were me in the far back year of 2009. You and your brother were attempting to complete the full release of Alien Hominid, getting absorbed into the game and its numerous minigames. While most of them were just small little time-waster, mobile game-esque experiences, there was one that had much more time and care given to it. These were the PDA levels. And there were a lot of them. Like 200, I think. Now imagine these levels, but 200% better, with a shiny new coat of paint, and a narrator who makes fart jokes all the time. And this is BattleBlock Theater, an extremely competent puzzle platformer focused around collecting gems to open the door to freedom. Consisting of 8 chapters and 10 levels each, this game is slightly longer than the last two. Which, honestly, I'd say it hurts it a little bit. Mechanics introduced never get that deep, which isn't a problem. The issue lies in the repetition of these mechanics, as I don't think the game really starts hitting its stride until the last half, where most of the mechanics were introduced and the puzzle platformer elements really start to shine. Until then, though, you're likely just going to be speedrunning these levels as they're fairly easy, and usually just introducing a world mechanic. When this game was first released, mostly everybody was focused on the narrator, as this was the first time in a Behemoth game that there was actual voice acting, aside from the screams and growls. I'm gonna be honest and say that I never really thought he was all that funny. I don't mean to say that nothing was funny. The guy certainly has his moments, but I just didn't really like this fucking guy yapping in my ear the entire time. It also doesn't help that it's a lot of crude humor, and I was turning into a bit of an older teenager when BattleBlock released. But the narrator would return in the Behemoth's next game, Pit People, where it was revealed that he was actually the friend or the lover or whatever of the giant space bear that was killed by the Hat at the end of BattleBlock Theater, making this game, in a way, a direct sequel, despite it being a Fire Emblem-like. Sorry if you were caring about spoilers, by the way. The narrator in this game is honestly really good, compared to BattleBlock. I love the way he antagonizes you, and is just generally kind of an asshole. Though my guess would be that they took some inspiration from Handsome Jack for that decision. Another thing to note is how fluid and well done the art and animation is in this game. Genuinely impressive. Geez, how many times have I said genuinely in this video? The gameplay in this seems simple at the beginning, but slowly as you get introduced to more units, it gets a lot more complex. Weirdly enough. Instead of being focused on the RPG staples of healer, damage, and tank, most units are focused around utility. Mushrooms for poison, hair troll for damage and positioning, gorgons for ranged and unit spawning. Every unit has a specific playstyle and a way to use them to counter enemy troops. And I just really love this system, honestly, as you were able to just build a good team from almost anything you can think of. I usually hate being forced to run the same loadout on every map like some other tactical RPGs. The game has decided that this is the way you play the game, and anything else is just rolling a boulder up a hill, right? But most of the units in this game will have something about them that will apply a buff or a debuff or change the battlefield layout. As if, like, for instance, say you don't want to run a hair troll, you can run a Cyclops who can knock enemies around the arena and stun them. Or you can have a human equipped with a throwable that also can stun or freeze or shock enemies. All of this combined just brings a lot of thought to how you approach battles and build your teams. And this especially matters since in this game you can't target specific enemies, lead a horse to water and all that. So, after Pit People, the Behemoth decided that it was time to break their legendary no sequels rule to create Alien Hominid Invasion, a sequel to the original 2004 Alien Hominid. And I'm gonna be honest, I had never played this game before the making of this video. It looked fun, but when it came out I was currently obsessed with a few other games that had flown over my radar. So this is the most raw and primeval review I could ever give. It's alright. I like the game, but it's a little hard to rank in my mind as I would call it a true sequel to Alien Hominid. But at the same time, it's really different. It takes more of a roguelite approach to the style of the game. And instead of being a true run and gun, where the only thing you're doing is running and gunning, you have to complete these objectives to finish the mission. And so, while I think I would have appreciated more if the game was just a little more linear, I like this approach that they went, in that it isn't just a rehash of the original. And while all of the core elements are still there in Alien Hominid Invasion, they expand on the original by adding these things called mutations, as well as some looter-shooter elements with the headpieces, guns, and the power-ups you collect. And you'll need them. This game gets extremely hectic the longer you are in a mission. I feel like I should mention that, above all others, this game seems a lot more built for co-op. This may tarnish my thoughts on it a little, since I don't have anyone to play with. And I don't think you're not likely to get the full experience unless you at least have one friend to play with. All that to say is that I don't have much an opinion on this game. Oh yeah, the art and animation in this game is incredible. And I said that for every other game, so please don't think this one is different. All in all, I don't think it's possible for the Behemoth to make a bad game. Just a constant stream of good ideas and 5 great games already under their belt. I'm always excited to check in after a few years and see what crazy new idea they've been brewing. With a team so passionate and delivering fun, simple couch co-op experiences, I don't think we'll see this company die for a long while. As long as they've got that same foundation they've always had ever since Falk founded Newgrounds way back in the day. just a general love for video games and the people who play them.